Hello everyone, it's Julie from Camelia Crafts Designs. Welcome and welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how I made this little laminated journal cover. I did briefly show it in my last video, but I didn't show you how to make it. And quite a few people have expressed a wish to know how I did it. I called it a makeshift journal. The reason I called it that is because I'm using it to keep all the bits and bobs together for a larger journal that I intend to make, rather than having them chucked all over my desk and stuffed in a drawer. I wanted a journal that would allow me to put my full height pages in it that I will then be transferring to my larger journal where I'll sew the signatures in, and just to keep track of all the little bits of ephemera that I'm making ready and cutting out. And yeah, I'm using the papers from A Garden Story by Rachel and Bella Crafts and Angela Kerr, but you use anything you want. You can use scrapbook paper for this. You can even use 2 bits of copy paper and you'll have a pure white journal. Yeah, whatever you want. My idea is I'll use a piece of paper from the journal I'm going to make so I can identify it, because I'm very good at jumping from one project to another as well. So if I start using these, I'll be able to pop them on a shelf and know instantly what kit or paper collection I'm using. So anyway, enough waffle, let's crack on with making it. So it is laminated. I've used a matte laminator sheet. You can use gloss. In fact, this was my prototype. Well, I wasn't going to make a prototype because it's not rocket science, it's not that difficult. But I prefer matte laminator pouches. I used a gloss one for this. That was my favourite sheet from the old kit. And I used a gloss one, but I can still use it. I've got a feeling I'm not going to fit everything into that one, so maybe I could have one journal per signature. You could even then include the journal cover in your finished journal as a couple of pages. Yeah, whatever you want to do. So let's show you how I made it. I'll pop that to one side. So firstly you need some laminating pouches. I've got a couple of matte ones here. I'll show you what brand I use, basically because it's the cheapest brand available to me, where I order a lot from Amazon. I don't leave house, I don't drive at minute, so it's bus fare. Quite often it's cheaper for me to use Amazon, so I do. And I'm lazy and I want things immediately. So I'm using the Fellows ones. They come in packs of 100, so they're going to last me a good long time. It's 80 microns thick. I'm not sure what that translates to. I'll pop it up on the screen now for people in the US and anywhere else, because it's the gauge is measured differently. I know it is. I think it tells you have it in, I don't know, so many eighths of it. I don't know. It will be on the screen, yeah. So I've got the matte ones. They're A4. My paper's A4. If you're using letter size paper, you'll have letter size laminating sheets. Yeah, I'm not going to be cutting anything down. I want to make this process as easy as possible, and I want my journal to be as big as I can get it with the materials that I've got. So yeah, they're my laminating sheets. I've got gloss and matte. Can you see how I've gone mixed up? The packets are far too similar. I need to put a giant sticker on front saying gloss and matte, because I don't read instructions properly. Anyhow, so I've got a couple of matte ones out ready. Now inside I'm going to use 2 sheets of these digital papers. Again, I'm lazy. I got mine ready printed from both Rachel and Angela. So I've chosen some from the kits that are just single-sided. Yeah, and I'm going to place 2 pieces together. This is presentation weight paper, whatever that translates to where you are, and I'm just going to grab 2 pieces, one for the inside, one for the outside. Here it is. There's a lovely patchwork one, I think. There's that one and this one from Rachel's kits. I'm thinking I want to use that one with butterflies on the front, and for the inside I think I want that one, stripy one. So just move all the rest out of the way. If you want to see all the other things that are being made using these kits, there is a collaboration ongoing, and I'll put the link in the description. Yeah, there's like about 60 different people taking part. So I'm going to use 2 sheets of presentation weight paper. You can use 1 sheet of cardstock. You can use, as I've said, you can use design paper, scrapbook paper, whatever. Just don't have it too thin, don't have it too thick. Yeah, so this is about, it's the kind of weight you would use for making pages in a mini album, or maybe just the cover of a junk journal. It's about the weight of Tim Holtz scrapbook paper. Yeah, whatever that is. I don't remember this kind of stuff, do I? So I'm going to glue my two together. Because they're then going to be laminated, I'm not going to waste a load of glue and cover that whole area with glue. I'll just turn my laminator on now to be warming up while we do this. Oh, press the side one on, woman. There you go. I always think there are buttons on my laminator at side. You can't even see them. Yeah, I think the buttons and they're not. They're indicator lights. My switch is there. Anywho. Right, so I'm just going to get some glue. I'm just going to use a little bit of glue stick. And I'm not going to cover the whole thing. Now, I'm going to put some glue roughly down the centre. Yeah. Well, I'm not using loads, and then little bits round the edge. I'm not covering all this area. I don't want my paper to go all horrible and wrinkly. I'll just check. Oh, it doesn't matter what way up it is because I've gone for a stripy pattern on one side. So I'm going to line one corner up. Try and line the other corner up. Because I really don't want to have to be chopping these down at all. Got a smidgen of wiggle room, as you can see, because I'm using glue stick. That looks good to me. Yeah, I can feel a lump in my glue there, so I'm just going to grab my, what's that called, bone folder. Is it a lumping paper, or have I got some rubbish on my desk? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, we're a lumping glue. So that's that. I'm now going to grab my laminator sheet, back over again. Put your lid on your glue, woman. Look at me being tidy as I go along. That's just doesn't happen, does it, with me? Now, which end do we open? That end. So if you've not used laminated sheets, which you must have, everyone knows what laminated sheets are, don't they? Surely. One end is sealed. So open that end. And it doesn't matter which way I put this in because now I want to pop that up that end, and I'm wanting to check now. Can you see I've got that in very wonky? I've got far too much room there, not enough room there. I want to line this up really well because I don't want to have to go cutting any off. I haven't got room to cut any off. Can you spot my deliberate mistake? I've made a deliberate mistake. Now, another reason I love these laminator sheets is they come ready rounded. Because it can be difficult sometimes to round the plastic. I forgot to round the corners of my paper. Silly woman. So we'll call that a practice run while my laminator warmed up. Because that's exactly where it was. Yeah, I was just testing you to see whether you could see what I'd forgotten. Yeah, of course I were. Now I think I'm going to use the middle size on my corner rounder. Small, medium, large. Don't ask me what the measurements are. Then I'll have a look, see whether that matches up. Yeah, that matches up lovely. I can't remember what I used last time. Do those. If you want to ink this paper, make it grungy, just ink it before you pop it in. I did with the last one I made, which I called Gertrude, after my wayward Amazon device that pipes up whenever. Or never, or lately. She's, yeah, I don't know if has she pegged out there in corner, I really don't know. So, they're all glued. Oh, I'm twanging me holder for me tablet. And let's line that back up. Oh, the green light's just come on my laminator saying it's ready. So I want to get that tucked into that edge. I mean, if you wanted to make a smaller journal, put the smaller paper in the laminating pouch. I would say, depending on what kind of trimmer you've got, it is easier to cut the laminating pouches before they're laminated, because it's like you're cutting like a thin film rather than a thick, yeah, laminated sheet. Right, so I'm just faffing about now trying to get these lined up. I'm just going to pull that up that way a little bit. I have just pulled it too far. Now this will take as long as it takes. Depends how faffy you are. amateur or perfectionist you are. I just want to make sure we get an even amount of seal all the way around my paper. I don't want a really wide part at one side and then a little skinny part at the other. So it does take a little bit of time, but I'd rather spend this time doing this than have a journal that I have to cut down and will be too small to fit my papers in. Right, I'm going to call that job's a good un. Yeah, I can live with that. So I'm going to grab my laminator and we'll whack it through. Right, other people I've seen make these tell you to score your paper before you put it through. Now the reason I don't do that is when I've done it, I've not got a proper seal on my laminating sheet to my paper, especially if I've used thicker paper. Also, sometimes my crease has not ended up in the middle. Like you can see this now, I'm going to have less laminating sheet on that side than on that side. So if I'd creased the dead centre of this paper, my book wouldn't have been, yeah, it wouldn't have been dead central, would it? Also, if you put it in slightly wonky and you've already creased it, you're going to have a slightly wonky book cover. It is easier to crease your paper before it goes through your laminator. I just prefer to do it after. As long as you're nice and gentle with it, you should be fine. Now I'm going to pop this through again so I can see it's not sealed as well as I would like in some places. So I'm just going to pop it through again. I know my laminator's got green lighting and it says it's ready, but sometimes I think it could just do with leaving a bit longer to get a bit hotter. Right, I'm just going to have a quick nap now while that goes through. No, what I'll be doing is I'll be getting my scoreboard out. I was using my little one, but I'm going to get my big one out. Oh, here we go. Right, I'm using my old one today because I had my newer one downstairs doing a few bits and bobs. I just find the numbers easier to read on the new one I got. This one can be a bit dodgy. It's now I've got older. My eyes are old and it's all dark. I've got one where the lines, where your increments are more clearly marked. But like I say, we're using that downstairs. Right, I'm just going to leave that flat to cool down. Turn your laminator off. And I'm going to let that... Oh, I've just knocked something on the floor. What were it? I don't know. Oh, it's a hammer. Oh, I'm going to need that in a bit. Come back, hammer. Urgh. It's not like a giant... Look, yeah. It's a baby hammer. Right, let that cool down. That's looking good. So I want to score this halfway. Well, I'm going to fold it up first. I'm using the edge of my board. So I want to line my top and my bottom up. And I'm just going to press it there. I want to know where halfway is, but I'm not going to go creasing the whole thing. Yeah? So I can see where halfway is now. I'm going to grab my scoring tool. If you can't see where halfway is, I'm just going to put a pencil mark on it for you. Because I want to score on the outside. I've no idea why I put the upside down. So now I don't want to score on that mark. I want to score a little bit at either side of that mark. So I'm just going to... Oh, that feels good to me. No. No. A little bit more. There we go. So I don't know if you can see where my pencil mark is there, and that's my first score line. So I'm going to put 2 score lines in, and I want them an equal distance from that little mark. I'm not having, it's not a big spine I'm making, and I'm going to score this quite a few times, not too heavily. There you go, and that's scored fine. I'm then going to turn that around, and I want to score again. Only because I find it easy to score it right in my line. About the same distance again. So I've put my ball tool where I want it to be. and I'm waiting for it to fall into a crease. Now that looks good, so I'm going to score up and down. If you're using, I don't even know what I'm going to say then. I'm going to grab a ruler and I'll tell you the distance between my score marks. The distance in inches between my score marks, it's 1/4 of an inch. I've used 1/4 of an inch, and it is just over 1/2 centimetre. Yeah. I'll look on the other side. I don't think I need to score them again. I'm going to just gently, I want to fold them on each of those score lines. If you're struggling to fold the second one, let's get a ruler. Put your ruler up to your score line and do it like that. Wee. There you go. We've got a wee in, didn't we? Wee. Yeah, there's loads of ways to do these laminated journal covers. Everyone has their own way. One way is not more right than another. It's personal preference. This is my personal preference on how to do it. So there you go. This is not exactly a spine because it's very narrow, but I'm going to be punching some holes, and I just find the holes hold up a little better when you've got that tiny little 1/4 of an inch, just like that. If I bring Gertrude back, you get to a point where you don't even see, you can see I have got that on Gertrude, but as I've now put my elastics on and I've filled it, it's sort of gone. You can't see it. It looks very pronounced there, but once we start using this little journal, you won't really notice. Sorry about that, I had someone at the door and now it's about an hour later and all my light's different. Right, I've had a look. I was waffling about the fact that I have got a slightly, more pronounced spine on this one than that one. I think I've scored it. Yeah, I've got a little bit more room between them. It don't matter. It's not end of the world. I've still got roughly the same size book. So let's move on to the next step. Right, next thing we need to do is put some holes in to put our elastics in. Now, I will point out you don't need to use elastic. You could use string, especially this middle one. That's just for holding it closed. You might prefer to wrap something around it, so you may not even need to do that one at all. Now, that's the only one where the hole is in the middle, and you're going to need either the long reach We Are Memory Keepers crocodile, because this one obviously won't reach, or what I use is this. I use these. They're just the hand tools. You pop it on and you whack it with a hammer, which is what I'm going to do now. So I've got my little hammer. I'm not going to measure where the middle is. I think if you look there, I didn't quite get that middle, but it doesn't matter. The world is not going to end. In fact, I may do it in line with the butterflies so that we don't get the fastener covering the butterfly. Yeah, so I'm going to do it there. I've got another mat underneath because I don't want to put a big hole in my mat. That's about right. And I'm just going to hit it with a hammer. A big hammer does it a lot easier than my little toffee hammer. It's not a toffee hammer, it actually came in one of these sets years ago. So just cover your ears. In fact, I'm just going to pause while I finish hammering. There you go, I've finished hammering. Phew. Yeah, I had to get quite a few more big whacks. And so can you see I've now got that middle hole? Yeah. The eyelets I'm using, by the way, are 3mm. They are equivalent to the, is it 1/8 of an inch? Yeah, the 1/8 of an inch side on your We Are Memory Keepers crocodile, the small side. And I'm just going to use, I've just used this basically for the middle one because my little one didn't reach. I do have the big We Are Memory Keepers crocodile. I just can't be bothered to get it out most of the time, which is, I told you I'm lazy. I mean, I've seen many videos people saying, should you buy this one or the big one? And they're like, well, buy the big one. I ain't got room for the big one. Also, it falls over. It's fallen on my toes before when I've popped it on floor. I use this one, and if I need to put an hole in the middle or something, I use one of them metal things that are a couple of quid. So anyway, that's just a side waffle. I'm very good at side waffles. Now let's have a look at our Gertie, which is my original one. Now I've then just put a hole there. I haven't put a hole at the top. What I've done is I've just punched out half a circle for my elastic to sit in. Yeah, I mean, over time that could wear out your elastic, but yeah, put some more elastic in. And like I said, probably why I call it a makeshift journal. So I'm going to set my crocodile to do this hole here. So inside I've got a long piece of elastic for my tall pages and a shorter piece for those. Well, let me take these pages out so you can, or is it, let's see what we're doing. There you go, you can see a bit better what we're aiming for, can't you? Oh dear, I'm not organised today at all. And this tutorial, we're not planned, it's like off the cuff. So yeah, I'll show you again from the outside. I want a hole there. It's about 1 inch from the top and about 1 inch from the bottom. So, which is my small side. Yeah, that's the maximum, that's why it's 1 inch. That's the maximum reach you've got on this crocodile handheld one. 1 inch. So I've gone in 1 inch and I'm doing it equidistant between my two score lines. So I'm actually doing it on the middle. There you go. Same on that side. There we go. Now it's too perfect and planned. Then I've gone and, did I use that or did I use this? Do you know, I can't remember what I punched the edge of that with. I'll try my crocodile first. Try it small edge of your crocodile, and I just want to punch a semicircle. Now I might have to turn this towards me to see. Oh, the sun is in and out today. Try that. Try this. Oh yeah, I did it with that. Can you just see? A little semicircle. Try not to go into the paper, then your laminating pouch won't, well, it won't come apart between your paper. And same again at this side. Just a little semicircle. I think I've got that plastic still stuck in. A little bit more than that, woman, can't see that. Now this one's not gone brilliant because I've done it twice. Yeah, I've still got it. Can you see? That's going to hold my elastic. That's all I want. Doesn't look as pretty as that one, but I got there in the end. Right, so now I'm going to grab my elastic. I'm using, I think this was 2mm. I've nearly used up the whole of that last reel. So what I've got now is some 1.5mm. I don't think it needed to be that thick and chunky, so this should be fine. So, right, let's see if I can get this. Now, if you look at the bottom, I just tied it at the bottom like so. I mean, if you want to make that look pretty, you can put some beads on. Idea I've got is I might pop something on that tells me what journal that is. So if you imagine I've got that on my shelf, that can, yeah, put a little tape on that tells me what journal it is. That can say garden story. So I don't even have to start pulling things in and out of my shelf to know. Oh, hey ho. So, I'm going to have to look at this to see. Oh, God, I'm always knocking stuff on the floor. I'm terrible. So I'm going to go in that hole. I'm not cutting anything off here yet. I'm going to go in that hole. Turn over to the inside. I'm going to go back out that hole. Yeah. So that's given me my short little one. Then I'm going to come over the top. So at the minute all I've done is that. I've gone in that hole and back out that hole. And I'm going to pull that down. And then I'm going to tie those at the bottom. So I'll cut that off so they're about equal. I just find it a very easy way to thread your elastics as well. Because I can get right confused sometimes, me, about what holes to go in and what holes to come out. And it's like, ooh. So, then I'm just going to tie these. Not too tight, not too loose. It's like, how long's a piece of string? Well, it's yay long, isn't it? So you don't want it too tight so that you're doing that with your journal. You don't want it so loose so that all your pages fall out. If you have to tie it a couple of times, you have to tie it a couple of times. That one's looking a bit baggy, so I'll pull that. And then I'll push my knot up like so. That looks okay to me. I'm not going to make that knot any tighter because I might need to loosen it off or tighten it up. So for now, that is perfect. I'll fold that over, and that is my journal. That's the journal done. The other hole is just for the closure. And for that, I'm going to grab my elastic again. Now if you want to pop, shall I pop a bead on my elastic if I've got one? Or a button? Or just something. Yeah, might use that. Could just use a big fat bead, big fat button. Oh, I like that big fat button. But it's just going to cause a little bulk on my bookcase, isn't it? I wish the hole on that were big enough to get my elastic through. Some of you will be looking, thinking, what's she doing now? What's she faffing at? Oh, look, oh, a leaf. A leaf. Oh, I'm going to put that on. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to put my leaf on my bit of elastic. And I'm just going to measure the width of my journal. And that looks about good. And I want it to be a couple of inches longer. So if width of my journal is 6 inches, I'm going to cut a 12-inch piece of elastic plus a little bit longer. So I'll cut a 14-inch piece, 14 to 15-inch piece for a 6-inch wide journal. But I didn't measure. But there's going to be someone wants to know how much, isn't there? Right, I'm going to put both holes through from the outside. And I'm not going to knot them yet. I'm just going to put that over. Yeah, I quite like that leaf. And I'm just going to let it find its own. So it's not too tight, not too loose, not bending my journal. That seems about okay. Let go again. And that is where I want to knot it. So I'm going to grab it there. I want my knot to go there. And I'm going to tie my knot. Again, it's not perfection. It's not an exact science. Your knot might be too tight, might be too loose. Don't pull it tight until you've checked it. I did a similar journal to this before Christmas, didn't I? I might have done it different then, because I might have decided to do it different since then. Now that might be a little bit tight, so I'm just going to pull on each side of elastic, which will be tightening my knot up as we go. Oh yeah, that's much better. Yeah, I've now got room to put stuff in my journal. And that's it. If you want to cut them off shorter, cut them off a bit shorter. And we've got it. And to see whether it actually works, all the pages I took from the inside of Gertrude, I'm now going to put back into this one. So, let's have a look, see. It should fit. So they fit. Get my short bit of elastic. Pop those through and that through. So you see what I mean, how you could have one of these journals for each signature you're working on. Now my pages are a little bit closer to the edge because I did make my spine a little bit wider. Now we've got that. I quite like that leaf, although it's obscuring my butterflies, so I'm going to move it over a bit. And then we've got our girt. You could grab some chunky beads. Ooh, look at that one. Pop that on the bottom. Yeah, if you just want one bead. But I'm going to put some kind of label on with the name of my journal, I think. Yeah. Do you decorate it however you want. I just wanted to show you the basic concept of how I did that little journal cover. That will last me for as long as it takes me to finish my full journal. Yeah, those elastics aren't moving because I've put those little semicircles in. We've not got elastic up the whole of the outside, which I think looks a little bit ugly. I mean, you could put beads, you could put anything you want on these exposed bits of elastic. Because I'm having this as purely a functional journal, I've not prettied it up too much. But I am quite happy with the look of it. I like that. These two kits go together beautifully. That's from Angela's, that's from Rachel's. Yeah, well they do. That was planned, weren't it? So, yeah. If you need something to temporarily keep all your pages together as you're working on them, before you sew them in your main journal, this is perfect. Right, there were people saying that's a short video for me, but I do still think I took twice as long to explain that as I should have. So go and check out everyone else's video in this collaboration. This one isn't really part of collaboration, it was just a little bit of an extra to show you how to make that journal. But I think it will be perfect to put all those pieces in. And if you want to find any straight away, put in #journal_jigsaw, and then all of the videos that have been made as part of collaboration should come up. Right, I'm going to shut waffling now because I'm just going around in circles, telling you the same thing in different ways. So, my name's Julie, I'm from Camelia Craft Designs. I waffle for England, and I'll see you next time. Bye!